think what we need here is a little more loggings. Just get me some more Kenny loggings on this fucking film. Because we're talking movies, we're talking Devotion, starring Jonathan Majors, Glen Powell, and Christina Jackson. Written by Jake Crane and Jonathan Stewart, based on the book Devotion, an epic story of heroism, friendship, and sacrifice by Adam Makos, and directed by J.D. Dillard. Chris, the real battle in life is being someone that people can count on, and that is not defined in a single moment. You earn that with a lifetime of showing up.
Well, you know what, fellas? You're not just here to fly and screw. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? If you can tell by the tone in my voice, it's because somebody or someone's team needed to get them up super early, like 8 o'clock in the morning on a weekend to record a fucking show.
I'm tired, boss.
So before we jump into the 2022 release Devotion about planes, fighter planes in the Korean War, I'm going to complain about something because I like complaining. The 2023 Golden Globe Awards. First off, this award show is
like, you can't wait till the end of it.
No, because this is important information and I want people to fucking hear it. Okay.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
The Hollywood Foreign Press is a fucking useless fucking organization. I just want to put that right out there. But I want to talk about the best picture. Well, I guess it's technically called best motion picture drama because they, want to make sure they get as many celebrities to their bullshit award show. The fact that The Fabelmans up against Avatar, The Way of Water, Elvis, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick took the best picture. Which also meant that.
Wait.
Go ahead. Fuck. Let's go.
I haven't watched Fabelmans.
I have, and it doesn't compare to any of those fucking movies that I just said.
So if
I'm not going to give you spoilers, don't worry. Oh, by the way, it's Steven Spielberg's life. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I already knew it was pretty much Steven Spielberg's life. But if I remember, when we picked our best of 2022, and we even had like some predictions for fucking the Oscars, I remember saying, hey, a movie about somebody's love of film and why he became a filmmaker was going to do fucking well. Because if anything, Hollywood likes to jerk off about itself.
But the Hollywood Foreign Press isn't even Hollywood. It's basically like a collection of like randos from around the world that want to hang out with fucking celebrities. So it'll be interesting to see what I know the Producers Guild did. It is on its list, but so are all those other films. It'll be interesting to see what actually happens with the proper award shows. Like I said, like when the Producers Guild does theirs, when the Directors Guild does theirs. But the Golden Globes also gave, of course, Best Director to Steven Spielberg. Again, I want to talk about this. Like, if you've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once by Daniel Kwan, Baz Luhrmann's for Elvis, Martin McDougall for The Banshees of Inisherin. All of those, and James Cameron, obviously, Avatar, The Way of Water. Those are all fucking fantastic films. Way more complicated. All of them did a great job with their story narrative and stuff. And then you basically have Steven Spielberg's life. But he's the best director. So seriously, the fucking Golden Globes are fucking stupid. They're fucking bullshit. And the sooner we get rid of them, the better.
You're goddamn right.
Anyway, Scott, take us away.
You know what? I'm fucking done with this shit. Done. Remember what I said for the movie quote? It's what you do in a lifetime, showing up. You're not showing up here. Like,
I'm here. I'm literally here.
Bashing fucking Spielberg.
9 o'clock in the fucking morning. Like, what else do you want of me, man? I am devoted to this show.
Hopelessly.
I had to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning on a weekend.
Okay, so if you haven't watched Devotion, pretty much basic plot is a pair of U.S. Navy pilots risk their lives during the Korean War, and become some of the Navy's most celebrated wingman. That's the fucking plot, which is pretty much every biopic. I won't say I was bored by this movie, but I will say I think having this come out the same year as Top Gun 2, it did not do it any favors, because going and watching Top Gun 2, them using the real planes, like you actually feeling it, and then here you're using, which you can tell are CGI planes. It just took myself out of it.
First off, I am going to correct you. There was a lot of use of original planes, including that MiG that you see. That was one of the really key points, is they wanted to, as much as possible, remember, these are older planes, they're from the 50s, wanted to reproduce as many flying sequences as possible in like practically. They actually had the same aerial stunt coordinator, Kevin La Rosa, from Top Gun Maverick. The difference is that one does like whatever fucking Mach 2, and another one does like 650 or 450 miles an hour or something like that. Like you just came off watching a movie, watching like Formula One films, and now you're watching like the Fall Fair fucking demolition derby. You know what I mean? So with no demolition.
But this one did use a lot of CGI as well.
It did. But I did want to point out that there were a large amount of flying sequences done with real aircraft.
Yeah, but like some of the CGI that took me out of it was when they would have like the cockpit scenes and they're flying information, and you have the planes in the background. Like some of the times those planes, you know how they would be like N305 or whatever, they were like labeled.
Yep.
But sometimes in the cockpit scenes there'd be no labels on the plane. You just see like the black plane like falling in. That's why it was like taking me out.
That's what got it for you, eh?
Oh, and fucking there was not enough Joe Jonas in this. Like there should have been more. If I had to sit through 2 movies of Harry Styles, I should have a fucking movie that's 80% Joe Jonas.
I'll be honest, I don't even know. I know who the Jonas Brothers are. I did not know that Joe Jonas, whoever the fuck that is, it was in this movie. Because really there's Jonathan Majors and Glen Powell. Everybody else is nobody to me.
Yeah, well, Joe Jonas was the guy who like was wrapping the cigarettes around him to try to sell them in France or whatever.
In Cannes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you mind if I jump in here?
It's your show.
This is true. This is true. So this film is highly disappointing. And it's what I don't even know what makes it worse, but the fact is, so first off, it's got all. I actually would like to go read the book, because you look at this and you go, man, there's so much stuff here that can make a great movie. You've got Korean War air battle. Okay, that's cool. Fighter planes are cool. Korean War. I mean, we need to like. There isn't a ton of films about the Korean War. Like, let's definitely have that conversation. You've got like down pilots and like brotherhood and that type of stuff. Okay, that's cool. That's fucking makes a great story. You've got the black white component, right? Like you got like I think he's the first black naval aviator in American history. So that's cool. There's a cool story there. There's all the tragedy that comes along with that. I don't want to spoil that aspect of it. It's based on a true story. You're like, okay, fuck yeah. And it's like who the fucking shitty screenwriters were like, man, all of that stuff's really good. You know what we should do? We should try and tell all of those stories, and none of them very well.
A kid's paint by numbers, or the connected dots where you go 1, 2, then 10, because you already know what the picture's supposed to look like. And
I guess, man, because it was so. First, I was fucking boring, except for the last like major flying sequence was pretty good. But even the flying sequences, like I said, they had the same aerial stunt coordinator as Top Gun Maverick. Should have been bumped up with editing. Like, and by editing, I don't mean pacing. I mean like the way the scenes move back, or the shots move back and forth, because you can create a lot of dynamic tension. That was a Rocky Horror Picture Show reference, for anybody who's listening. And you can create that kind of anxiety of like, look, like they did in the original Top Gun, like he's behind you, I can't see him, he's in the clouds, like that type of, erratic behavior. They didn't do that. Everything felt flat, actually. Flat and calm throughout the whole movie. Like characters, even when they're angry, never really get to a boiling point. Like the whole thing was on about a 5.5 on the boiling scale out of 10, the whole fucking movie. Okay, do you want to jump in here? Because I'll just keep going. Like
go.
That and so okay. So first off, the storytelling was not great. Like I said, the script, like the story is good because like I already explained, it's already kind of great, points to it. They didn't do a very good job with their script. The dialogue also delivered with some of the shittiest, cheesiest, and nobody's gonna stop the American Air Force. Mug for the camera. I was like, what is going on in this fucking movie? The amount of times you saw people standing posed in this film, I was like, who fucking stands like that all the time? It's like, I don't know what the fucking director was doing, because that's a director problem. That is not a screenwriter problem. Like I said, the dialogue was shit as it is. And this is directed by like J.D. Dillard. Like, I mean, he's done some other little stuff. Some like
Slight's really good if you've watched Slight.
Oh, okay. I was surprised that he got. I think the budget on this was not small at all. Basically, it had a it had a $90 million budget. I'm like, what is going on in Hollywood? They're just like, hey, guy, here's a $90 million budget to fuck around with. Like,
but 90 million is mid. It's a mid-budget film.
It's actually at the 50, top. It's the top of the mid-budget range, though.
But it's still mid.
It's still $90 fucking million, man. It's not 5. And
that's how much it made.
Yeah, it made 21 million. I mean, maybe it'll make some money. I watched mine on Paramount Plus, so my subscription fee or whatever. First off, we've talked about this on the show before. Period pieces are always fucking challenging, right? Because you can't just go and shoot a movie. You're worrying about like costuming and dialect and all this type of stuff, and your colloquialisms that are used, in the 1920s. Like, hey, I'm Al Capone or whatever. Like, you got to get all that shit right on top of shoot a coherent film, and it's really sad. Like, I actually hope somebody, now that this film's come out, they, maybe also option this book and redo it, because this story should be told. This is a fucking amazing story. Like, you got like first black aviator, naval aviator. Again, there's a big tragedy that happens. There's still a closeness between these two families, like in real life. And I think that story should be told. The whole Korean War, like let's fucking talk about the Korean War a bit. And there
isn't many films that I can think of, like with the exception of, I think MASH is the only one that.
Yeah, so MASH is probably like the most famous, and most people even forget it's about, including myself. I forget most of the time it's even about the Korean War. To me, it's just about a war. Like a war is happening, and they're doing funny stuff. Like, I got to do surgery before I operate. There's Pork Chop Hill, which is probably with Gregory Peck. I think that's probably the most famous. One I started watching last night is called Bridges at Toko Rai, which is also like a really good aviator film, like going off carriers and stuff like that. Actually, I do want to talk about something here. I mean, I've been talking this whole time, but
yeah, I bet.
Go.
So to go off kind of what you're saying with your writing, like with the writing of the film, the one thing I didn't understand, and it's not really a spoiler or somewhat a spoiler, is like the head pilot guy, like the guy who's like the one that had like the World War II combat, and he was like the what would there be, like their captain or their commander?
Yeah, I guess I was in the Navy, not the Air Force, but I mean, I guess that would be like their squad leader or whatever.
But wasn't this the Navy Air Force?
Yeah, but I wasn't. They first off, it's American. So they have all kinds of fun ranks and terms for things that we don't use in Canada, right? So, but anyway, go ahead. Yeah, the squad leader.
So the first fighter, like the first battle they're going in, like he turned down his own fucking landing gear, right? Like, to me, that's what it looked like. Like, he didn't want to even be in that fight.
201 to 205, you there? Go ahead, 201. seem to be having some trouble with my landing gear. Can you confirm?
Yeah, that was badly shot. I think what he was actually trying to do is he noticed that his landing gear was still not responding, and I think he was actually trying to like jog it to come up. But that's what it looked like. You're absolutely right. Now that you mentioned that, it looked like he put his fucking landing gear on to be like,
and then
oh,
he's like,
shit,
well,
guys, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and then he's like, next man up. Okay, you take over, and then he like goes away. And then I'm like, then you have the next battle that's like the most dangerous one, and he's like front and center. I'm like, why the fuck would he chicken out on the shitty battle and be front and center on this big battle?
And even him, like, okay, so again, you know, the casting was not great. It's funny that you said at the top of the show about, you know, maybe don't bring this out like right after Top Gun 2, but it's like they had fucking Glen Powell, so Hangman from fucking Top Gun 2, as a pilot. They're using the same, you know, technical director from Top Gun 2, and it's like, it's almost like they were like, how can we make this as they should might as well just got Kenny Loggins. That would have been cool. Like, instead of highway to the, it's like dirt road to the kind of danger zone. Like, you know what I mean? Like
the bridge to the danger zone.
Bridge to the danger zone. Exactly.
But yeah.
Hold on, I want to talk. Hold on. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, like, I was like, my wife was watching this with me, and it was funny, like, because when Glen Powell comes on, like, and it's kudos to him, right? When he came on, my wife was like, "You're fucking watching Top Gun?" She was like, "Why are you watching this movie about fucking with Tom Cruise again?" Because she thought it was the original. I'm like, nope. I'm like, nope, that's not Tom Cruise. And she was like looking, and I'm like, nope. She was like, fuck.
What it was is the prequel to Top Gun. What you're actually seeing is Pete Mitchell's father. Actually, even that though, it was his grandfather. It's the prequel to Top Gun.
The prequel.
They call that the pre-com Top Gun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and that's literally the end credits scene. You see Maverick just swimming to the.
And
he does it inverted. Yeah! He does it inverted.
So that CO, or actually, so that squad commander or whatever he is, that's even the like the hard boiled vets. They're all like, all right, guys, so we're gonna go out there and we're gonna fight the communists and we're gonna beat the. I'm like, where's the fucking passion? Where's that? The one pilot dies when the fucking plane crashes in the fucking ocean, and they're just sort of like, yep, I know you guys are sad, and let's just try to get on with it, and not in this stoic way, like we all lose comrades, but we got to fight to win here. Like everything's a 5.5. Yeah. Every fucking emotion is 5.5.
Yeah, I'll speak on what you're saying, like especially when you're talking about editing. So you have that scene, right?
Yeah,
where the guy dies because and then it built the animosity a little bit between Jonathan Majors and Glen Powell's character, right? Because
he's already critiquing what happened.
Yeah, but the next scene after that is them getting ready for the battle, where the thing is, the most important thing is every man comes back.
No, isn't the next scene them like fucking doing the fucking Lindy Hop in fucking France? Like, isn't it like Buddy dies and then they're like, well, we got shore leave, so let's get our fucking whites on? Like,
no, I thought it was the battle where they're like, or they're getting ready for the battle or something. Because I think it was shore leave, then the battle, yeah. But they're like, yeah, the whole most important thing is every man comes back.
Not you, Scotty. Not you, number 2. Not you, Frau. Not you, gold member. Not you guys back there. Not you, henchman holding wrench. Not you, henchman arbitrarily turning knobs, making it seem like you're doing something.
And because I thought the same thing, I'm like, somebody just, like, you literally just watched somebody die, and no one seemed to get, there wasn't even anything for them. It was like everybody at the end of night, like drinking a coffee or smoking a cigarette.
Oh, exactly. And then even that whole scene in France with like Elizabeth Taylor, which means in the book, they probably told a story about like, oh man, and we were on shore leave in France and we met Elizabeth Taylor and like, that was pretty cool. Like, that's awesome. So, but if it doesn't work in your fucking film to tell a story, just don't put it in there. Or you make it like a conversation that they have, you know what I mean? Where you basically use it as like exposition, but you didn't need it in there. An exposition from the expedition. Yeah,
anyway,
like
I don't know French history at all. But would those like they made it seem like those like bouncers at that casino were like super fucking racist, and they didn't want him in because he was African American.
It's so funny that you bring that up.
But I was like, wasn't Europe way more progressive and
yes,
more
it was,
welcoming?
and especially France. Like they often talk about like black French troops in their military and stuff like that. Like that was not a new thing. They actually so James Baldwin, like the super famous African American writer, moved to France because it was a safer. He felt it was like this is in the like late 50s, early 60s. He talked about how it was a safer environment to live in because they didn't care about skin color, or definitely not the way the United States did. And they basically show France as being like the same as like the segregated South. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, at first I was like, is this because it's just like a super fancy fucking
which would have been
casino.
The appropriate way to go. They're like, no, people like you, like fucking military guys, you don't get to come in here.
But then, yeah, you walk in, it's all the army guys are in there.
Yeah, all the Marines are in there. And that's the other thing. I was like, I thought it was like super. So supposedly the scene is supposed to be they get in because they met he met Liz Taylor on the beach.
And she personally invited him.
That's right. And then you go in and it's like full of fucking Marines. Is she just like, come on, come one, come all, come on down? Yeah, this movie is a fucking piece of fucking dog shit for the most part. Derek Smith's from Slate magazine, or Slant, sorry, not Slant, Slate, Slant magazine. This unfocused, awkwardly paced film never quite gets off the ground because, of course, you got to use a flying metaphor. And as a result, will do little to change the perception of the Korean War as the forgotten war. I mean, I think it does little to change the perception of like people's idea around this film being a piece of fucking dog shit. Like, I don't know how they fucked this up so bad. Like, I'm almost impressed at how badly they fucked this movie up considering the fucking source material.
You know,
and the Razzie goes to.
No, I won't get any Razzies. Well, like in terms of the cast, like fucking Jonathan Majors, he's solid actor. Like he's gonna do very.
Whoa. Okay, so Jonathan Majors. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Glen Powell there. Yeah.
No, this
Jonathan
is what
Majors
I am going to talk about. Glen Powell.
Yeah. Now. So he was in like Hostiles, White Boy Rick, The Last Man in San Francisco, The Five Bloods, The Heart of the like. He is ascend. I don't know if he's even ascending. I think he's definitely in the top spots, and he's going to become an A-list.
That trailer for Creed 3. Like, I just want to watch it for him. Like, just the way his performance is coming out of that trailer. It looks fucking amazing. But in terms of Glen Powell, so a little bit of trivia here. He, asked Tom Cruise's permission to do this movie because he was in Top Gun. I just don't know which one. I'm guessing this one filmed after Top Gun. But I'm starting to think he was just like, listen, I got another gig. It's another fighter, but the movie, here's the script, movie shit. And Tom's like, okay, you go get paid. Yeah. He's like, but never fucking do anything that makes you think like you're Hangman in this film. That's why he's like the 100% opposite of Hangman, right? Like he's not cocky as shit. He's the, the nice guy.
He's like the straight guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's super nice and everything else. Like the perfect. I think the book is actually based on his Hunter's story. Like I think he's the one, the author actually went and hung out with him. You know what I mean? Because I think he just recently died. Like I said, it's unfortunate. This movie could have been so much more. But okay, it's got an 81% from critics. I'm like, huh?
What?
I can see it. Like the acting.
What? No.
In terms of like I said, the performances, like Jonathan Major does awesome job. Powell even does a good job. Right, but I think it's more in line of because it is a biography.
Yep.
Right, like you don't really want to trash the story either, right? Like of what it's kind of representing.
You don't have to. You can trash the filmmaking. it's very easy to trash the filmmaking in this movie. I've already
Especially
just like riffed off
coming
it.
in.
Like,
Yeah. Especially coming from you.
yeah, man. And it's got, but this is the part that blew my mind. 92% from the audience? 92? Really? 92? Who the fuck is watching this movie? Like,
Well, it didn't really do well in the theaters. So, you know, if 100 people watched it and they're like, you know, you're going there because obviously you like something you're going to watch. So you're going to review it very well.
no, because I could see going to this movie being like, oh, cool, man. Korean War Top Gun 2, or sorry, Korean War Top Gun. Sounds amazing. Wow, that was a fucking letdown. Let me just like fucking rating bomb the shit out of this. Okay, so I want to talk about something that, like, having been in the Navy, having been on warships, I also was on, like, I have been on a carrier. I was on USS Abraham Lincoln. I didn't serve on it, but I've been on it when they were in our port. So they're doing like general quarters and they're doing their little tests to see if they can get in their fighters fast enough and stuff. I'll tell you, I have never been on a fucking warship that is that empty. It's just the 4 or 5 of them. They're running down the flats. That's the hallways. Then they're running up the stairs. Nobody on that ship has a fucking sense of urgency, including those fucking pilots. They do not even look like they're hustling. They're just sort of like, we're going to get there when we get there. When the plane crashes and they go to like emergency stations, it's almost like, pause. Fuck, should we, think we should go, maybe do something about that? Like, can just dial up the intensity. Being on a fucking warship, there's fucking, especially old and timey warships, man. Also, their cabins. I would love to see if officer cabins are that fucking big on a 50s era fucking warship. Because again, space on a ship is fucking valuable. And so you don't have like these lounged out fucking spaces. You're not in a fucking hotel here. Anyway, yeah, the movie's fucking shit. If you do watch it on Paramount, because you already have that subscription, just jump to the last 40 minutes. Just watch that.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Are you recommending this film? Because it sounds like you're recommending it.
No. I mean, like I don't even know if you want to do the last 40 minutes. I'm trying to think. Like,
just fast forward to the flying sequences and watch those. Like those are good. And I mean the last one where they go after the bridges. That's cool. Like, that's a cool. It's well shot and stuff like that. Even when they have to like land in the forest or whatever. So the DP Eric Messerschmidt.
They
hold on.
crashed.
I think it's funny that just to me, it's comical to me as soon as I read. So the director of photography is Eric with a K Messerschmidt, and I'm like, your last name is Messerschmidt, and you're shooting cinematography for a flying movie. I mean, if you're a World War II buff, like that's gonna ring some alarms right away. Like, I want to know, like, are you like one of those Messerschmitts, like that family, like the Messerschmitt Me-109, like World War II fighter plane. But he won an Oscar for Mank, so he's working on Fincher's new film, The Killer, and Michael Mann's film Ferrari, and he's the DP for Mindhunter. Like the stuff that he did well. Unfortunately, the rest of the story is shit. The rest of the film is shit, not the story.
And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com.
That film I was talking about, The Bridges at Toko Rai. So it's got William Holden in it. It's got fucking Mickey Rooney in it, and it's got fucking Grace Kelly. So just go watch that film instead.
Well, there's another one that I was like doing some research on. It's called The Hook. With Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah. Where they have to shoot a prisoner or whatever.
Yeah, like but I think it's one that I don't know. But I was like, oh, it's another Paths of Glory where he has, to go against everybody and do his own shit. But yeah, it was all in all right. Secondly, to end this, you fucking take Steven Spielberg's name out of your motherfucking mouth, or I will fucking come there and I will slap you.
Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.